not waiting for us. Oh, we are already streaming. Oscar? Are you sure that we should be live?
On YouTube.
And you're muted. Oscar.
Well, they've all just heard a brief history of us.
Very brief, yeah. It's okay. I mean, this is a casual atmosphere. Oscar, we're still not hearing you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Now you can hear me. I got this mute button on.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, I'm trying to stream for the first time here, but it's an unlisted link. So until I send it out, no one is going to find it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Until
don't feel...
afterwards. Until playback.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We have nothing to hide, you know.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So how's it been covering Miami? I hear it's been a crazy week.
Oh yeah, it was, and I'm actually looking forward to asking Brock about Miami because, well, I haven't been there in person. It was kind of a hectic couple of days for my team. We had several reporters there, also our video team who struggled with Wi-Fi connection. But anyway, it was a great experience for all of us after over a year of absence of in-person events. Hi, Ken.
Hey, what's happening? Wait, are you saying that you finally did an event?
Well, I sent some of my team to Miami last week.
Oh yeah, it was massive.
Yeah, that was great. Looking forward to asking Brock about that.
Yeah, we could do that. Let's just, always make sure that we keep things as evergreen as possible and not date stuff too, right? By the way, I was going to wear the same lipstick today, so thank God we chatted earlier.
Yeah, you see
Is James with us? James, are you with us?
I'm here. Hi, Ken. Nice to see you again.
Hey, James, how you doing? Good. I love the skyline. I guess that's real. You're really about 120 stories up right now somewhere, right?
Well, I'm actually in the Netherlands, so, it's a little bit
Well, it should be a
false,
very
but,
high scraper, you know. To see
don't even have
Dubai
any hills
from
here.
Holland.
How awesome is it out there? Is the weather wonderful?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yep. We were just saying Christina's in Italy and I'm in Holland and
Italy.
Oscar's.
I'm in Bali. And I'm in Bali.
Wow. How's it there?
Please don't take this metaphor wrong, Christine. James, do you remember when you were a teenager and you had like a pinup of the girl that you fantasized about? Like, I don't know who that would have been for you, right? That's what every day is here. It's like a eye-gasm, mind-gasm, orgasm.
Ken, we're live. We're almost live.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're not live yet.
That'll get people talking anyway.
Let me just give you an example in dollars. Sandy and I just had this killer dinner. I mean, it was massive dinner, the two of us, and it was $12.
Whoa.
And that was high end. Yeah, we live in a 100 square meter place. I think the 100 square meter, that's pretty big, right? I got to get it right. That's 10,000 square feet. And we pay about $2,200 US a month with a staff of 3.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. So you can live with Dogecoins.
Yeah, we could page with Dogecoin. Actually, what's really interesting, Christine, I have found Bitcoin ATM machines that require no identification to buy Bitcoin.
Interesting. Okay.
Exactly.
Regulators would be happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah, very happy. But that's pretty fascinating. Hey, Oscar. Hello.
You're muted.
I'm back. Yeah, I can hear me. I hope.
There you are. Hello, Oscar.
Hello, Ken. I heard you were napping, but you woke up just in time.
Actually, guys, check this out. I got super sick this morning. I got vertigo. I've never gotten vertigo in my life.
Oh.
Wow.
And you've had it before, Christina?
Oh.
No. So what it is it's the world is just spinning. You're laying in bed and it's like spinning. It's torturous.
Oh.
And you've had it before, James?
No, but I know someone who has. It's horrible.
It was horrible, literally horrible. And then I had a friend of mine who was a doctor. She came by and she goes, "Here, just drink this." And I drank it. And she goes, "Yep, there it is." And it fixed instantly. And it was magnesium. I was low on magnesium and it corrected it instantly. But I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand. But yeah, so I was napping to recover from not sleeping last night, Oscar.
That's my metal, actually, magnesium, calcium. That's the one.
Yeah, that's very important, especially especially if you're doing sport. Are you doing sport, Ken?
Not enough.
Then-
Ken, are you doing sport?
Wait, doing sport? I'm an insane athlete. I really am.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 55 years old and I compete with 25 and 30-year-olds. And I mean, Oscar knows that. Oscar knows Oscar's too, by the way. Oscar's an avid runner. He runs constantly every day. He's
Maybe that then, the lack of magnesium.
Yeah, lack of magnesium. Oscar, by the way, we need to put some muscle on because he's looking like a Kenyan long distance runner.
He's definitely going to win.
No fat on him at all.
There's no fat on him. Nobody works out like Ken. I mean, he's just so intense with everything he does. My God.
I just got to tell you, for my 55th birthday, I went to the gym and there was this 26-year-old Russian massive guy working out. He's doing bench presses. He had tattoos on his arms, really intimidating. He would be like a hitman in a movie if he was casted. And I go up to him, I go, "Do you mind if I work in with you?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he kind of like snickered. And I worked out with him and I go, "You know what, can we maybe add a little more weight and then a little more weight?" And all of a sudden he goes, "Man, I can't do this anymore." I go, "Yeah, but I can." And I felt so great at my age going, I just kicked a potential murder of a movie ass and working out. So rest has gone down well. Hey James, what's your focus? What are you excited about? What do you want us to touch base with you on?
Well, we've just launched our crypto center, so that might be something to touch on.
Okay.
We've recently launched it. Actually, Brock did the keynote at the launch a couple of weeks back in Dubai. So can talk about the crypto. It's called the Crypto Center.
Okay, the Crypto Center. What else is top of mind?
Maybe we can touch on, I know we did before, but we can touch on the regulations in the UAE for crypto asset regulations, how that's sort of going.
Okay, we can do that. Christina,
that'll be enough for me. I think Brock's the star
when
of the show.
the UAE will become the new El Salvador.
Yeah, the El Salvador is very interesting, right? What they're doing. How about the regulations that are going on in China, and where China really is trying to block everything except their own digital yuan? So
I think it's also very important to mention that there is a lot of fake news happening there, and it's very.
So that's not accurate?
Well, no, actually, there's news about bans in China coming every week. We already were accused in manipulating markets. I mean, we journalism, media, because some of the media take over these pitches. But nothing big actually is happening there, as far as I understand. Nothing.
I have a conversation that I'll have with you regarding integrity and not getting fed the right stories, not on your end, but hints. And if someone says, "Oh, write about this," what do you have to do to verify and check? Because there is a lot of fake news. And you just mentioned, I'm happy you said that because it's totally true, isn't it?
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, this is not simple, and it's a big responsibility, and especially in the crypto industry where everything is happening so quickly, we need to be as quick as also as accurate as possible. That's the thing.
I saw this morning there was a news article out which was saying that one of the Chinese sort of cantons had asked for the government to stop all mining and was stopping mining in its region. But then it was nowhere else. It was just one article. So it's probably fake. So it's pretty much everywhere.
It's really interesting here where I'm at is around vaccines. They're saying the government is mandating it in Indonesia, and it's coming from the president level. Jokowi, who's the president. I know the president. So I ended up getting just calling the capital, and I go, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you mandating this? If you want to be this new open territory," he goes, "I'm not mandating this." I go, "But there's videos of you saying it, and it's on the news." He goes, welcome to my country.
Uh,
Wow. So
yeah.
everyone thinks it's mandated, but and that's just vaccines. Imagine other things, other industries, and it's on the news. So
Yeah.
you guys.
Well, but honestly, it's really difficult to work with Chinese in terms of coverage. They are very reluctant into talking about things clearly, and they always ask us to edit our questions, even if, in my opinion, our questions are like totally politically correct. They have so many banned topics.
Okay, well, here, let's hold this. This is really good conversation. This is the kind of bantering we want. Hi, everyone. I'm Ken Rakowski. Welcome to our bi-weekly event where we talk to the movers and shakers in the blockchain crypto space. Of course, we're all excited about the Future Blockchain Summit, which is happening October 17th through the 20th or 14th through the 20th. We're excited to have you there in Dubai. And I'm very excited because every single gathering, we bring amazing people together. But I'm very fortunate because my co-host is always virtually sitting right next to me. She's insanely powerful in the crypto space, and she is the editor-in-chief over at Cointelegraph. Christina, how are you doing this?
Hi, Ken, and I'm so lucky to co-host this show with you. That's the biggest luck I have. Everything is great. We are in green even today, so like the day can't be better.
Okay. So before we bring on Brock, I've known Brock for 20 years I've known Brock. I was actually part of a company he started or was one of the founders of back in 1999. So I've known him for a long time. Before Brock gets on here, what's Brock's persona in the blockchain crypto space? How is he seen?
Well, he's definitely a very controversial figure. And I think he likes it. Well, I would be happy to ask him again. I first met him when I just started working for Cointelegraph. It was like 4 years ago in Singapore. He just launched the EOS ICO, and I think this multitasking that he is managing to do in the space is really important. And he definitely is the one who creates a lot of stories around him. And it's always interesting to chat to him.
Okay. But do you think he's somebody that is, again, he's not here yet, that's leading a trend? Is he somebody that is creating the directions, or is he somebody that's more being vocal about where things are going?
Well, that's a great question. I think that a lot of people who are famous are now trendsetters in the crypto industry. So whoever has over 1 million subscribers on Twitter is the one who is setting trends. Definitely Brock is one of those people. And well, his political stance and his projects, not only in the crypto space, but also in the entertainment industry, is very important. As far as I know, he's now supporting a new series about crypto. So I'm also eager to ask him about that because, well, everything that we saw in the series on Netflix, on the TV about crypto is usually pretty BS.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to some new show that will be relevant, that will be tech savvy, and that will finally talk about the crypto space from inside.
Got it. I like that. By the way, again, this is a bi-weekly presentation that we put together. It's really here to promote the Future Blockchain Summit. So we want to make sure that you're registering. Hey, Oscar, I'm getting some people that are saying they can't get into the area. Just to be aware, some people are trying to log on and they can't get in for some reason. I don't know why. Just be aware.
Weird. And Brock is he's here, so we need to make him a panelist.
Let's get him in here. All right, let's do this. Let's dive in. Very excited about Mr. Brock. Unmute yourself. Let's bring you on again. This is every other week. We are here to talk about the Future Blockchain Summit, which will be taking place in October. Please make sure you sign up. There's so much going on there. Mr. Brock Pierce is joining us. I think he's either in New York or Washington, D.C., but I know he's on the East Coast. Brock, where are you today?
I'm at my house in Washington, D.C., otherwise known as the Pierce School.
Oh, awesome. When did you get back from Miami?
Well, I went from Miami to New York I had dinner with an important ambassador, and then I flew back here to DC yesterday morning, and I fly back to New York in a couple of hours.
So Brock, we want to start with this, and it's a very simple conversation. We were just talking about it, Christine and I, and that is, when do you become, or how does it go where you maintain your leadership in the blockchain crypto space, or do you amplify the stories and the message of what's going on in the crypto blockchain space? Are you a leader today, or are you an amplifier?
Well, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. You know, we lead by example. Leadership is, you know, getting up every day and doing your best work to support creating a better world, to empower freedom, sovereignty, liberty, all of these things, so that each and every one of us has the ability to pursue our best lives, to be our highest and best selves. And you do that and support others by supporting their projects. You identify people that are doing things that resonate with you, things that are in your mind going to make the world a better place, hopefully doing something for more than yourself. And one of the best ways to do it, if you're gifted with this, the gift of gab, is to tell the stories, to help people understand simply, to distill complex ideas and put them into simple sound bites that everyone can understand.
I heard what you just said. That was nice. Let's get deeper now. How do you maintain your leadership in this space? It can't just be you amplifying up the stories. It's got to be where you are saying, this is BS, this is accurate, let's stay away from this. I mean, you have to almost take assertive positions. And by doing that, you might piss off some people sometimes, but to be a beacon of bright hope, you're gonna have to take some aggressive positions at times that might piss others off.
Well, I mean, I take a lot of aggressive positions, but they're always based in a place of compassion, right? We're all here to learn. We're all on our journey, and you know, forgiveness for others. But to, you know, if things are being done that are out of integrity, if things are being done in a way that are not better for the world around, you can comment on these things, but it's not about putting others down. It's about raising people up that are doing things in a good way. And you can do that. I mean, I ran for president of the United States of America without making any enemies. You don't have to put others down. You don't have to talk about problems. You can present and speak to solutions. There is a positive way in which to do this that does not require putting others down, because that's just not the right way. The right way is to recognize everyone is, you know, on their path, in their journey, in their experience, living through, you know, living in the world that they've created for themselves in more ways than they often realize. And we can do that in a very positive way.
Do you think that the other crypto communities leaders are actually translating this positive message?
No, certainly not all of them. Some do. And, you know, I believe if anyone succeeds in making the world a better place, we all win. And I encourage everyone to innovate, to experiment. And it's through that process we all learn. And those things that are intended to be, those things that are going to serve, call it humanity as a whole, are the things that are ultimately going to win. How do I assess projects that, you know, I want to get behind and support? Well, first of all, what is the purpose? You know, what is the purpose? What is the intention? Is this something that I want to see in the world? Is this something that I believe is going to make the world a better place? And then you look at the leadership, and are those leaders of these respective projects or communities leading well? And that is to be a good steward, right? To be a custodian of things. And do they find people that follow them? Ultimately, a project's long-term success is going to be determined by the quality of the community that supports it, the people that are behind it. Teamwork makes this collective dream work. And that's what I look for. Good leaders that act as stewards, that, you know, create followers, that are building communities that are strong. Because again, this is open source technology. Technology gives you a first mover advantage, but long-term, it does not differentiate you. What differentiates your community and your project are the people that support it.
I liked everything you just said. Hey, James, I want to make sure you're in this conversation because Brock was very pivotal to something you just launched recently. Do you want to basically celebrate having Brock here? And what did you guys launch together?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for that, Ken. And hi, Brock. Good to see you again. Yeah, so for those who don't know us, GMCC is one of the largest free zones in Dubai, and we have around 19,000 companies, and we have a reputation for developing ecosystems. So we started back in 2004 with gold, and then diamonds, and more recently coffee. So when we were made aware of blockchain and crypto, I think probably back in 2015, 16, and I actually met Brock, I think, back in 2016, 17 in Brussels on one of these events. We decided that we should have a crypto ecosystem. And following on from that, we launched recently a crypto center ecosystem. So we teamed up with CV Labs out of Switzerland, and we opened the doors of that, I think, 2 weeks ago. And coincidentally, Brock generously attended and gave a keynote at that event as well. And that's basically a center that's supporting crypto, blockchain, DeFi, NFT, whatever it is within this space, trying to give all the building blocks there for entrepreneurs, for startups, for larger companies, for partners, incubation, excavation. And of course, we have new regulations that have just come out in the UAE as well, which is quite exciting to support that environment.
So Brock, I want to go right there, what James is saying. So you got to go to Dubai only a few weeks ago, and then you were in Miami. And I know that your docket's pretty insane with wherever you're going. At one point in time during the dot-com boom, we could legitimately say San Francisco was the center of everything during the dot-com boom. And then maybe New York would have been up there, and maybe Hong Kong, but you knew that where the center was. In the crypto space, let's first go with crypto and then blockchain. Crypto, where do you think the center of the crypto sphere is right now? Where is the hot spot and hotspots when it comes to crypto in your mind?
Well, there's a number of them. And this is where our governments, that system that governs over us, is so important. The hubs appear to be where the public and private sectors are learning how to work harmoniously. They're learning how to work together. And so places like Dubai have become, important hubs, in part because of its geographic location relative to Europe, Africa, and to the East. A government that recognizes that innovation is important and that they're nurturing it, that they're inviting it in. It also helped during COVID that they opened up earlier. We're human beings. We want to be able to live our lives. We want to be able to see each other. We want to be able to go and eat, and it's pretty basic stuff. And Dubai has been one of the biggest beneficiaries of this, where I just was as well. Miami, thank you, Mayor Suarez. It's Miami in Florida is a free state, and people again care about their ability to live their lives and move around. And having a mayor, an elected official that actually has his finger on the pulse, understands what technology is doing. The future belongs to the bold. Obviously, there's a big community as well in Puerto Rico where I live. And so we're seeing these places emerge. Singapore early on was another one of those. Japan, because a government there said, hey, we're making Bitcoin legal tender. I suspect that El Salvador, because of everything that's happened over the course of the last week, is going to become a more relevant place, because we, the creators, the innovators, the pioneers, we want to go to places where we're welcomed. We want to go to places where we feel safe and comfortable doing the work. And so there is still room for many others. And so I'm excited to see Paraguay just announced that they're looking to do the same thing. And I suspect this is going to continue. Obviously, a lot of people are also going to places like Tulum. It can be a little distracting, perhaps not the easiest place to work, but it's attracting the best and the brightest. And so Wyoming is another one. And that's because a government there passed 19 laws that said, we support innovation. We can't stop change. Change is a constant in the universe. The world around us is changing. It's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, but when and where. And so the places that recognize this and adapt to change well, and recognize that it's like a wave, and it's like, you get on your board and you ride it. those are the places that are going to be the biggest beneficiaries of this change.
Now that's on the crypto side. How about on blockchain development? You know, when we look at when Java was hot, we would pick at places like the Ukraine for Java developers when we're on the mobile platforms focusing on that. So different parts of the world were known to be those, let's call them epicenters for development. On the blockchain side, where do you see a lot of blockchain companies coming out of and developers that you're excited about?
Well, I mean, that's one of the beautiful things of all of this is we are democratizing opportunity. So wherever you are, wherever you're from, there's an opportunity to get involved, to be part of this future. And so it can be from anywhere, but naturally places that historically have had large, call it developer communities, people that are, you know, teaching and educating in the areas of computer science and things of this nature. There's a lot of developers that come out of Eastern Europe, whether it be Ukraine, Belarus, Bulgaria. I mean, all the Eastern Europe has been producing large amounts of developers for a long time. And so there are a lot of developers there. Places like Berlin in Germany, we're seeing it clearly. Places like Northern California, the Bay Area continue to produce a lot of developers. But we now, we've been going through this process of virtualization or decentralization, and COVID definitely accelerated this movement. We now have the ability to work from anywhere. And so, you know, you have the freedom to choose. Where do you want to live? And for me, I live in Puerto Rico because it has three specific characteristics that are important to me. One, quality of life. You know, we want to be able to live our lives, and we want to be able to live comfortably in a place that makes us feel good. We also want to be where opportunity exists. And for me, most importantly, is I want to live in a place where my presence is going to have a positive impact on the world around me. I moved to Puerto Rico because it was the part of the United States that has been suffering the longest, a place that has just dealt with challenge after challenge after challenge. But remember, challenges produce opportunities. Whenever there's a problem, there's the potential, the possibility for a solution. And so
Brock,
for me,
it does matter that the tax status, especially on capital gains, is one of the lowest. It is the lowest in the entire United States.
Yes, it's zero for those people that move there and take advantage of the government incentives to bring economic development. I'm not motivated by money, so I'm not there for those reasons. But that's how I've gotten so many other people to follow me, because, you know, for a lot of people, you know, and certainly in this community, they feel that taxation is theft. And if you give them a path to minimize that, also that's why Dubai is doing so well. Dubai is also a place that understands, that, economic incentives are a powerful tool for moving people. But just on the note of money, I view money as a form of stored energy, and energy wants to flow like water. And so it's a current, see? And so our job is to be good conductors of it. I don't consider any of my money to be mine. I'm in possession of it, but I'm just a steward or custodian of it. I can't take it with me, but it is a tool that empowers me. It gives me the ability to see things that I believe in, people and projects and places, and to assist them, to support them in their development. And so that's how I view money.
That was really a beautiful metaphor, huh?
You like that? Currency. Christina over at Coin. By the way, Brock, I'm not sure if you know this, but Christina now is the editor-in-chief of Cointelegraph. So she's a massive rock star in this space.
And on the note of Cointelegraph, I just want to sing a little praise. Of all the media properties in our industry, they do the coolest cartoon sort of animations. I love how you merge mediums. And you do it through obviously the written word and video and that message, but you also do it in a really fun animated way, because the mediums and the more ways in which we can speak to people, the more effective often the message is.
Thank you, Brock. That's really valuable. Thank you very much.
Brock, Christina has a challenge, and the challenge is fake information. So for her to dig through something that seems to be a great story might later on be a story to lead the masses into the wrong direction, so someone else takes advantage of it. I mean, Christine, you get these tips often, and digging deep is difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so true, Ken. Thank you for for talking about this. Honestly, it's not only about digging, but also about being always responsible. Sometimes we just can't be responsible for everything that is happening in the space. But media is the one organ that is always accused of being responsible if there is any fake news distribution. Even though I personally think that it's always better to write about something than not to write about something. And then we also try to educate our readers to make their own research. Our articles are not the Bible, not at all. So everybody has to make his research, not just Google what is DeFi. And I'm referring to the episode yesterday with the CFTC commissioner. So yeah, Brock, any tips about dividing fake news out of non-fake news are very welcome.
Well, it starts with trusting your gut. As human beings, we have a lot of really good tools that are, you know, kind of built in, and learning how to trust your gut. You know, what truth resonates, it has a certain frequency that when you hear it, you just kind of, it resonates as true. You feel it. And then there are those things that are not true. And if you're paying attention, if you're feeling, you'll often kind of know it right then and there. But then there's also the Ronald Reagan piece, which is trust but verify, you know, to go through and do your basic fact checking. But you have an inherent tool in you that is so much more effective than people often realize. When someone says something that isn't true, your body actually tells you. It's there, and taking the time to meditate, to take time to yourself, and to hone these receptors that you already have, they'll help you most of the time and save you a lot of trouble, because that fact checking, that verification work is time consuming, but you have that kind of like instant, like you know it when someone is telling you something false. But we live in a world where we're surrounded by such, you know, we're surrounded by so much fake things, so much false things, that our antennas, our receptors are just kind of they need tuning. It's kind of like those bunny ears on the old television, you know, that people would put the aluminum foil on to, you know, try and get, you know, a clear reception. You just have to, you have to work on those antennas. And other than that, fact check. And then also, you know, there's about 30 million Americans that, you know, have Bitcoin, probably 300 million or so people in the world. Find trusted experts that have consistently operated with integrity, because you can also save yourself a lot of time by, you know, you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. You have people in your life that can help you. You have experts that know things about certain things. And remember, just because someone is very smart about a particular subject matter doesn't mean they're smart about everything. You know, take Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, sage of Omaha, you know, when it comes to value investing, he knows what he's talking about. But I wouldn't want to listen to him as it relates to things like technology and cryptocurrency. You know, if you got a heart problem, you go to a cardiologist. If you got a problem with your brain, you go to a neurologist. So you have to find subject matter experts that have, you know, in their Malcolm Gladwell sort of way, they've invested their 10,000 hours in a particular field. And having a network of trusted advisors, people that you can lean on to help you is something that we all have access to. And it's just a matter of developing and nurturing those relationships,
So,
honoring
Brock, flip this around to the other side. I remember all the negative press on you. As Bill Gates would say, all press is good press. Is that really true? Come and look at John Oliver when he tried to take you down. I remember come on, I've known you for a long time, and I would actually call you up going, you see what they just said about you? I know it's not true, and it gets really frustrating. How do you take all this potential negative press, even though there's great press too, but when you see something that's out that's just a hit piece, how do you deal with it?
Well, I've been dealing with it all my life, so it doesn't really affect me very much. Let's say I've developed a thick skin, and it's back to forgiveness and compassion. You know, it's try not to take any of it too personally. And I know that's very difficult for many, but don't take it too personally. You know, hey, they're talking about you. You must have done something right. Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking about you. And we live in a world that, does want to bring you down. There are people in the world that when they see someone doing something good, it invokes feelings of jealousy or envy, and that sometimes produces behavior that is harmful to others. For me, it doesn't faze me much because I've been dealing with it a long time. And another thing when it comes to these types of things in media in particular, don't rely on others to tell you everything. There is ultimately a social, personal responsibility, to think for ourselves, to be free thinkers, to form our own opinions. Because if we just rely upon the opinions of others in the media and take that as gospel, take that as fact, you're going to miss out on many of the greatest things in life. And a lot of times, the most valuable insights and the most valuable information and some of the most interesting people you'll ever meet are the ones that have been demonized. And sometimes you have to actually do the work to say, wait, they're telling me not to look there. They're telling me not to pay attention to that. Why? Maybe I should actually give it a moment of my time. Maybe I should take a second to actually check out what's going on there, because you might find that some of the greatest gifts are there. If you've ever played a video game, normally the paths to skipping levels, normally the great artifacts or relics are normally hidden in the places that you would least expect them.
So let's take some questions. I'm going to go to Derek. Derek, unmute your microphone and please ask your question to Mr. Brock Pierce. Go for it.
Yeah, hey Brock, how are you? Met you a few times now in Dubai.
Derek, do me a favor. I'm going to mute you again. Turn on your camera, please. I want cameras on when you ask a question so we can see who's speaking. So please turn on your camera.
Yeah, is it on now?
No, it is not on.
Okay.
So do me a favor, figure out your camera. I'm going to go to somebody else. I'm going to go to, again, cameras. If you have a question for Brock, please make sure you turn on your cameras. I am going to go to Jim. Jim, turn on your camera and you can ask your question to Brock Pierce. Go for it, Jim.
Great. Thank you very much. I'm really...
Jim, your camera's not... Do we not have cameras on today?
I've only got the option to mute or unmute. I've got no camera option.
Okay.
I don't have a camera on either. So.
All right. Okay. Hey, do me a favor. Derek, I'm going to let you ask your question first and then we'll go to Jim second. Okay, go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, hey, Brock. It's nice to hear you and see your face again. I saw you a few times in Dubai in the last few months. And I wanted to ask, what is your idea? Because I'm fluctuating the same. I live between Montenegro, Dubai, and I'm originally from the Caribbean and also spent a lot of time in Asia. And I see as you...
Where in the Caribbean are you from? As someone that lives there, I just have to specificity, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'm originally from Dutch Caribbean, from Curaçao. And I live in Dubai already 15 years, but I'm Dutch. And I lived between Montenegro, Dubai, and Bangkok before Corona. And we met a few times, but we didn't speak that long on the conferences. But I was just wondering, what is your personal preference? I know you live in Puerto Rico and you come a lot to Dubai, and you just spoke about it. But what do you think, which are the pros and cons of each place? I know every place has a pros and cons, but what is for you the most important pro and con? If you let's leave, yeah, I mean, it's really difficult for people to decide where to go and live now, because you can only choose a few cities instead of before you could just travel around the world. Like I was traveling around the world all the time, no? And it gets limited now. What is your opinion on this?
Yeah, let's go for it. Brock, go for it.
Well, I'm from Minnesota. So that's the coldest part of the United States. So let's just say I like warm places. I also like to be, close to the water. I like to be close to the ocean. These are just, again, personal preferences. It's a matter of learning, what are the things that are important to you? What are the things that you like? As I said, I like places with impact. I'm a very social individual. I'm an extrovert. And so I also like to be around lots of people and people where I have a shared interest, a shared passion. And so that starts to limit the choices. I also love food and things of that nature. And so these are the places that I like to be. Right now, I'm spending and then also there's the amount of time that it takes to get from place to place. So most of my time these days, and I used to travel around the world every month. These days, I'm mostly traveling between Puerto Rico, Miami, Washington, DC, and New York, because they're conveniently next to each other. I can kind of go up and down the East Coast with relative ease. But everywhere the world is so amazing. There's so many incredible places to be. It's really just a matter of, going to that place that works for you. And, if it's not working, go try somewhere else.
Right.
You're not forced to live in any of these places. We have at least a fair amount of freedom that allows us to still move around. Maybe not quite like we could 2 years ago, but that's also changing. The world is starting to reopen, and our ability to move around appears to be coming back. But it's hopefully one of there was a lot of lessons that came out of COVID. It was a good wake-up call. It created an opportunity for everyone to break their patterns, whatever habits that you had found yourself in. You got a chance to take a step back and to reevaluate your life, to get your house in order. And I mean that both figuratively and literally. Identify the things in your life that are no longer serving you, and those things that are, so that you can, continue to water, or to grow those aspects of yourself that you want to improve. And I hope every one of you, has taken this time, this opportunity to better yourselves, in this process, and hopefully did not succumb to fear and depression and some of the things that can happen when you're trapped in your house for a year. And so I hope everyone made good use of this time, because like all challenges, it presents, there's effectively two paths, and how do we make use of that time? And I hope everyone made good use of that time and bettered themselves,
Let's go to
golden
Jim.
words.
Jim, you have the next question. Go for it, Jim.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'm absolutely loving the panel. Thank you so much for everyone's time. I've got a dilemma with a physical asset that's about to become an NFT. So my body of work in the last 10 years explores both sides of the coin, largely in Dubai and on the west coast of America. The physical asset behind me is the one and only Donald Trump signed dollar bill. Apologies in advance. So when I met Trump in Dubai, I was exploring the heroes and the villains. I don't say who the hero is or who the villain is. Long story short, I got to him. He signed the dollar bill and he said, I'll only sign the dollar bill if I keep your pen. I said, if you keep my pen, could you sign the $2 bills? So he did. And that asset is behind me now. So I'm about to drop that in an NFT platform in a limited edition. And I'm assuming that the physical asset will only grow from strength to strength, bearing in mind he's just completely denounced crypto in the last 24 hours. So this panel coming together, it's such good timing for me to get this across, because if I make the wrong move in the next 7 days, it could make or break my life's work. And for 10 seconds,
I love this.
we have the 45th president of America's signed dollar bill.
Right.
I made him the general of Twitter, not knowing that he'd be kicked off the platform.
All right,
Looks like a Chinese leader there. What's the question?
What's the question?
The question is, and this is not a sales pitch, the question is, because life's too short, and Brock, you're a living example of that, and I admire your energy and your philosophy, and it keeps me moving, particularly over the last 18 months. So thank you for that. The question is the NFT route the right way to go, or will that devalue the original asset you've just seen, or should it add value to the original asset that you've seen?
Well, it should add value. And I mean, this isn't just a new medium for art that's creating a title, a chain of custody, a certificate of authenticity, these sorts of things. But it's a lot of it has to do with marketing.
Sure.
It's hard to see an NFT perform if people don't know about it. And people are just starting to learn, that fans of the arts that may not have been into cryptocurrency how to get their wallets, get the cryptocurrency to be able to bid on these things. I'm very active in the NFT space. We bought NFT.com. We raised $8 million for Burning Man org last week in Miami.
Unbelievable.
We also, for my good friend Peter Rubrick, well, actually, there's been a number of NFT things. So Mick Jagger and David Grohl were having a problem with their NFT. They put out their NFT. They didn't they were new to the space. They were not, I'd say, well advised. Someone's just like, hey, we'll turn it into an NFT. And with like Field of Dreams, if you build it, they'll come. It doesn't exactly work that way. You actually have to do a lot of work. You have to basically, before launching your NFT, identify people that are interested in it. You have to start to make a market. It's kind of like an IPO. You don't just take the company public. You go around and present it to a lot of people so that when you go public, you've got a lot of interested parties that are there to potentially bid. And it takes at least two to make a market. And so I came in and I bought Mick Jagger's piece. I pumped it up to $50,000 so that it wasn't an embarrassing, thing that could potentially tarnish the brand. Then more recently, my friend David Mizell, who was the CEO of Marvel, along with Scooter Braun and a bunch of important individuals, took a comic piece out there. I lost that one at 99,000, but David Cho bought it for 100,000. Which is a respectable number.
Brock, should Jim be talking to the Wax guys also about what they're doing? Because they're doing a lot within the NFT space as opposed to going to the Ethereum route?
Well, you should talk to everyone you can that has any credibility in this area. The conversation, it will hopefully at least teach you something that will help you along in your journey. Yeah, definitely. You should talk to the Wax people. You should talk to the Block V people. You should talk to, if you can, the OpenSeas, the Nifty Gateways, and talk to everyone you can, because the more you know, the more likely it is that you'll be successful in your endeavor.
Cool.
So I do love the fact that I really appreciate that you're doing pieces on superheroes and supervillains, but not telling anyone which is which, and
absolutely
giving people the freedom of choice to decide for themselves. I really love the fact that you pointed that out. I'm active in the NFT space. I'm buying. I keep supporting people that I know and I like.
Cool.
Christina, is this a story? Real quick, Christina, is this a story worth following where Jim takes this? Because it's such a unique thing to see taking something from a physical asset to a digital asset and see if it really does enhance the market space of this.
Yeah, that's a great story. I agree with you. Yes.
So Jim, if you can, send us, why don't you, how can you get us? Hey, I'm kenradio@gmail. kenradio@gmail.
Oh, that's cool. I'm actually,
I'll make sure Christina.
Yeah, I follow a lot of DMCC and James Bernard and co. So I'll get everyone's details from James if that's okay.
Yeah, do that, and then let's follow this as a story. Jim, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
All right, Jim. Thank you so much. Let's go to. Hey, by the way, James, you knew about this.
I didn't know he was going to come on. I know his story. Yes, Jim's a good friend of DMCC, and I've been following his journey on NFTs and trying to help him in the space.
That's pretty cool. I think by accident, I just turned off your camera, turn it back on. I want to see your handsome face. Oh, I like, there you go. Hey, by the way, Brock, what does James do? Because James, in some ways, is kind of his whole launch of what's going on in Dubai. It's going to get a lot of press attention, and some of it's going to be negative also. Does he handle it like you handle it, saying, hey, I got thick skin and that's it? Or does an entity like that have to deal with news differently?
Well, I mean, haters are going to hate. And remember, a lot of times when people are doing this and they're putting you down, it isn't really about you. It isn't you. It's them. They're dealing with their issues. And when you recognize that it really isn't about you, and again, back to, and you have compassion, and that doesn't mean that you have to invite everyone into your home, but we should have love for everyone. We should have compassion for everyone and understand that they're going through their challenges. They had some life experience, something that, hurt them. And, the victim often it becomes the perpetrator, and, they've been hurt, and so they hurt others. And, try to insulate yourself and protect you from those things to the extent you can. But if you're making big waves, if you're doing things in the public eye, you're going to get people on Twitter, you're going to get trolls that, they're there to distract you. They're there to distract you from your purpose, from your mission, and, do your best to tune it out and stay focused on the things that matter.
Please make sure you have your cameras ready, because we'll add you to where you could actually ask a question. So make sure your cameras turn on. Brock, again, thanks a lot for sharing time with us. Remember, Future Blockchain Summit, which is happening 16th through the 20th of October in Dubai. Please register for Future Blockchain Summit and FinTech Surge. We're very excited. The speakers are unbelievable. Brock, you got to hear this. It's not just about what's going on in the obvious stories of FinTech and blockchain. We're looking at the psychological games. So some of our speakers that we're excited to announce are Chris Voss, who wrote the book Never Split the Difference, top hostage negotiator in the world. John Gray, who wrote the books Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. We're looking at the psychological connection of how people spend time and money. We'll be talking to Dave Asprey, who wrote Bulletproof. They're all speakers coming to Dubai in October. Pretty mind-blowing, right? Everyone's getting onto this next wave of where the future is going, and they all know it's important. So we're very excited about that.
That's
All
awesome.
right.
When we all meet in person each other, that's incredible.
You're excited about that, aren't you?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna bring on Hussein, who I need you to unmute yourself and let's see your camera. Hussein, who is joining us. I think you're joining us from the same place I am, and that is in Bali. Hussein, can we see your camera? There you go. Hi, Hussein.
Hi.
Hey, what is your question for Mr. Brock Pierce?
Yeah, because hi guys, how are you?
Awesome.
Good. I had some question about Brock was speaking about the new regulation that is coming out. I want to know, is it interesting for the new guys who wants to invest in that crypto? How is the regulation? Is it positive? Is it something negative? How is it, Brock?
Well, regulation where? Are you in the country you're from or the country you're living? Because
in country I'm living, sorry, in Indonesia, in Bali.
Well, regulations are intended to be good things, right? The intention of regulation is to put in place rules that protect people and incentivize certain behaviors. That's the intention, right? But then you get the law of unintended consequences. And not all of our policymakers are necessarily informed enough. They generally don't know enough to put in place sensible regulation that actually protects people and creates a better, a world at large. And a lot of times incumbents and lobbyists are pushing in place regulations that are not there to serve us, but there to protect special interests. And so regulation is a mixed bag, and you have to look at regulation on a case-by-case, basis to really understand, is this a good thing? I spend a lot of time in the US, but abroad as well, but a lot of time in the US talking to legislators on a state and federal level, because it is human nature to fear that which we don't understand. And how do we conquer fear? We conquer fear with knowledge. And so I'm constantly trying to inform our elected officials and civil servants to give them the information, the knowledge necessary so that they can make the best decisions, in the public interest. But regulation is it cuts both ways. It's a double-sided sword. And right now, the stakes are so high. The world is changing so rapidly. Places like Wyoming that are putting in place good regulation, places like Florida that are putting in place good regulation are the beneficiaries of it. And places that put in place bad regulations are going to be the victims of their own actions, and they're going to harm their constituents. And so I pray that those that are in a position of authority to make these types of decisions do the work to be informed as possible so that sensible regulations are put in place that ultimately serve the public interest.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hussein, thanks a lot, Hussein. Well, Brock, I know you have to jump some other places, and I don't want to suck up your time. Before we go, help us understand what's going on in China. And the reason why I say this is we see the markets move up and down when an announcement comes out of China. It could literally tank any type of crypto in some ways, or it could just accelerate it. How do you view China, and do you see it as really the new driver since most of the miners are out of China? How do you position China in this whole conversation of where crypto is going?
First of all, we share one planet. We're all in this together. And so I hope that we all figure this out. China obviously became one of the largest markets to recognize the opportunity around Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, blockchain, and they've gotten in a very big way. The Chinese government saw what we did with Tether, and they've created the Chinese digital yuan, a central bank digital currency, or CBDC. That Chinese digital yuan, could threaten the U.S. dollar's reserve status. Donald Trump's most recent statements around Bitcoin, I think, are uninformed, and his real conversation should have been around the Chinese digital yuan. If his point was dollar superiority, Bitcoin is like digital gold; it's an alternative store of value. Cryptocurrencies are not really currencies. Because people don't use them as a medium of exchange. People don't use them to buy basic goods and services, not in any scale that matters. So cryptocurrency is a bit of a misnomer. It's really an alternative store of value right now. That's not to say that it won't be different in the future, but I'm talking about present reality. And so Donald Trump's statements were misinformed. The Chinese digital yuan is a very big deal. I believe that we're going to see global currency consolidation. China, in their Belt and Road project, is going to be saying to these nations, yeah, we'll give you big loans like in Africa, but we want to take over your ports of entry. I think the next thing they're going to say is, well, we want you to use our digital currency stack, and we'd like you to peg your currency to the Chinese yuan and trade your commodities in it. This is a really big deal in terms of geopolitical movements. But what China's done recently it has been very harmful for China in the long run. It's had a negative impact on the price of Bitcoin in the short term, but that's fine. We like sales. We like to be able to buy our Bitcoin at better prices. It's not a bad thing. Anyone buying this should be in it for the long run anyway. If you think this is a get rich quick scheme, buying Bitcoin, well, okay, we're down a little bit, but so what in the long run? Unless you're trying to be a trader. And so the other thing that's happened is they just announced that if you mention Bitcoin on social media in China, your account will be banned. So massive censorship around even mentioning Bitcoin in China. This was on Fox News last night or yesterday afternoon. The Chinese mining industry is also leaving China rapidly because it's no longer a friendly jurisdiction in which to operate. I think Satoshi's, call it second gift, it might be 3, 4, or 5, but let's just call it Satoshi's second gift. I believe Bitcoin, and this is where Elon Musk, again, I think was uninformed. We used to power our lamps and our lights with whale fat, with whale blubber. But as civilization advanced, we eventually needed to find a more abundant resource for energy, which was fossil fuels. We're now at a point, because of our power consumption and the fact that it's done so geographically specific, I believe that Bitcoin mining is going to help usher in and accelerate the rate at which renewable energies are used. And this presents an incredible opportunity for the United States of America. The United States of America needs to upgrade its infrastructure. And I believe that combined with Biden's desires to improve American infrastructure and providing tremendous resources to do that, that combined with the fact that China is no longer a favorable market in which to mine, I think this could basically become the primary driver of upgrading the world's energy infrastructure. And so Is Bitcoin bad for the environment? I argue completely the opposite. And to say that it is, certainly if you make electric cars, is to make the argument like we should go back to a horse and buggy. We are where we are, and our job is to upgrade the world around us and upgrade that infrastructure sooner rather than later. China, I think, has made a number of very bad moves. But anytime that happens, it creates an opportunity for others. And so Bitcoin mining is now being basically dispersed into new places, and massive investments into energy infrastructure around the world are going to happen as a result of it. So I think it's bad for China, but I think it's good for everyone else.
So Brock's going to be leaving in a few minutes. We're going to do some bantering after Brock leaves, so don't leave us. Stay with us. James, before Brock goes, any last questions for Brock?
For me, no. I mean, we covered pretty much all of it. I know there's probably the ultimate question that I get the whole time is the misinterpretation of what blockchain is and what crypto is, and especially from a bank's perspective, the banks being involved in blockchain solutions, but actually shunning what crypto is, and one doesn't exist really without the other in most circumstances. So how do you feel that role playing out? How do you see that sort of really getting an understanding across to governments and also to banking, which is seriously important for the industry?
Change is happening. You can't stop change. The future is going to happen to us or with us. And we're better, it's better to be a part of that change, to adapt to it. And so, yes, the world of banking is changing. But banks is a broad term. What is a bank? They do lots of different things. Some parts of their businesses are going to be very negatively impacted, but other parts of their businesses are going to benefit. And it's a matter of doing that work. But I think ultimately what's happening here is an incredibly good thing for humanity. We have 4 or 4.5 billion people in the world that are on or underbanked. And this is not to blame the banks. Banks have a fiduciary duty to make money. That is their purpose. And it is not profitable to bank the poor because of the overhead that it takes, because of the compliance and regulations that have been created. And it wasn't the regulators' intentions to basically create financial exclusion for the world's poor. That wasn't what they intended. I don't believe that. But it is, again, the law of unintended consequences. This technology is going to create ubiquitous financial inclusion for everyone in the world. And what an amazing thing that is. Also, take a look at what's happening in decentralized finance. If you put money in a savings account, you're getting negative interest to maybe 1%. If you take a digital dollar and you lend that out in DeFi, you're getting 6 to 10%. But how can this be? Is it sustainable? Yes, because what we're doing is we're stripping out the entire cost structure of a bank's retail or physical space, the employees, the profits, the commissions, and all the things. And when you strip all that cost out and you allow a lender to lend directly to a borrower, they're getting 100 or close to 100% of the benefits of that loan. This is a wonderful thing because, again, it's not profitable to give small loans, but we've seen with Muhammad Yunus and Grameen Bank that if you can give micro loans to people in the developing world, you can really make a positive impact. I think that we're going to bring 1 billion people out of poverty as a result of this. And what an amazing thing that is.
There you go. Christina.
Tell me, Ken.
No, before Brock goes, you get to grab the last question.
Oh my gosh, I have so many questions to Brock. Where are your hats?
My hats are in the other room. And I've been putting my hats on again, but as you can see, my next meeting, I've got 2 meetings. I've got one of the heads of the Vatican Museum. We're talking about Dante's Inferno, the Divine Comedy, because this year is the 700-year anniversary of that story. And so I've got to pop into that meeting. And then my next meeting is with the ambassador from El Salvador to the United States of America. I met 10 ambassadors yesterday, and I spend a lot of time talking to governments around the world, empowering them with the information so that they can be better leaders.
Well, you can feel it. I remember talking to you 3 years ago, and I think that actually changed your way of communicating a little bit. It's not now much more, politically imposed. Great.
True. But I'm going to let you have a better question than that. Christina, come on.
When running for, one of the things I learned, because, I went from being kind of, the way that I was, to all of a sudden letting the inner artist in me kind of shine. And I was going onto stages as if I was at Burning Man and giving my speeches this way. And then I'd go meet presidents and prime ministers dressed this way. And what I learned in the process is that I was giving incredibly valuable insights to people, but most of the time they couldn't hear me because they were too busy looking at what I was wearing that they couldn't actually pay attention to the things that I was saying.
You're such a goofball, Brock. I've been telling you that for 10 years, and you know that.
Well, it took me a while. I mean, some lessons take a while to learn. There is a rebellious side to me, and the rebel in me was like, I'm doing it as I want. But what I learned is that if you want to effectively communicate with people, you have to speak to them in their language, and you have to meet them where they are. And so the reason you see me kind of dressed so conventionally is that so much of the world is still stuck in that place. And if I want to be an effective communicator, I have to mirror them. I have to present myself in a presentation. I have to present myself in a way that they're used to, and then it allows my words and my messages to land. And so when I'm not on camera, I'm typically the Brock that wearing the hats, and I look like an artist more than a business person. But when I'm talking to politicians, I put on the suit, and when I'm talking to business people, I put on the suit. And so I shape shift and switch characters based upon my audience.
That's very wise. Good luck with everything. Huh?
Thank you.
All right, Brock Pierce, people want to find you, hunt you down, connect with you more. Brock, where should they go?
I'm going to drop into, it only says all panelists and attendees. You can find me on Twitter at Brock Pierce. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm in Telegram. I try to be everywhere as best I can. As soon as the hologram version of me is out, you might be able to find me on a street corner near you.
All right, Brock Pierce, thank you so much for joining us. We're looking forward to seeing you at the Future Blockchain Summit and FinTech Surge in October in Dubai. Again, I like that I could call you up and you say I am there. That's what a real friend's all about. So thank you, Brock.
Thank you, Brock.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. God bless.
All right, there goes Brock Pierce. Brock Pierce, who was just joining us. Hey, before we all go, I want to say something that I love about Brock, and this is important. And Christina, you probably know this being a journalist. You can throw out any question you want, and he's prepared to answer it. But how many times do you get this where people you want to interview, they want to know your set of questions before you sit down with them? Don't you hate that?
That's really true. Actually, first time I interviewed Brock, I invited him together with Brandon Bloomer, and I made them interview each other. Mm-hmm. So Brock was also great in asking questions. That was
Brock's great. He's a smart guy. So if you want, go type my name in with Brock. So Brock and I, so I used to run the Milken Conference, the entire digital side of the Milken Conference. And Brock was just going from gaming. At one point in time, Brock had 400,000 gamers working for him, because what they did is they played games for digital assets, which he sold internally inside video games. It was actually, it wasn't legal in the video game industry, put it that way, right? They try to block him. And I did the same thing. He was sharp. He's always been sharp. But the thing again is he's ready to always answer a question. And that's so important, because if people are so guarded, you always ask, why are they guarded? What are they protecting? Hey, before we go there, hey, James, I do want to bring something up that Brock said, but we didn't get deeper into it. And that is, there's changes in laws, especially around what you just launched in Dubai. And this is something that people need to pay attention to, because Brock said Dubai is one of those hot spots. And it's all around what you just launched. What was modified or changed or enhanced to make Dubai even a better spot when it comes to blockchain and crypto?
Well, luckily, we've got a very forward-thinking government, and the UAE recently came out with the Securities and Commodities Authority crypto asset regulations. And those regulations are across a number of different activities, which will be able to be set up as licensed companies inevitably in DMCC. So across the crypto asset sphere, so you're talking about exchanges, brokerages, token asset applications, issuance, custodial, so a whole plethora of I'd say, license activities whereby companies can set up in Dubai, in the DMCC, and take advantage of these regulations. And of course, it's early days at the moment, and these regulations will, I'm sure, become more inclusive as we go forward. But really sort of progressive thinking. If you look at the centers around the world for crypto and for blockchain and for the more regulated activities, there are few and far between. And I think that's lack of understanding really, and lack of foresight. And so the UAE government's been very forward thinking in coming up with this. So we're also attending the blockchain forum at the Dubai World Trade Center, really looking forward to that and attracting a lot of companies from. It's worth pointing out that it's Expo 2021 as well at the same time, so very good timing.
It's great timing, it really is. So make sure you pay attention to that. Christina, top of mind before we go?
Well, my fascination go to Dubai and UAE because, well, it actually became this attraction point out of all these business centers in Europe. And now everybody's going to Dubai. And I'm very much interested what will happen as soon as all the lockdowns are settled. And will the previous business centers like London and, well, Switzerland stay on top of things? That's really interesting to learn, huh?
Yeah, and it's interesting. We see a new strain called the Delta virus that just popped out of China. How does that affect the world? Hey, a couple of things. We are going to do some switching around in the future, meaning we're not just going to be talking about blockchain as in the technical side, but the psychological side also. Some of our speakers that will be appearing here with us are from Akon. You probably know who Akon is. He's launching the Acoin. I've known Akon for about 15 years. We're excited to have him. John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, will show the connection where that works. Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference. He's got the top masterclass. If you've gone to masterclass.com, you can see him there. And then Dave Asprey from Bulletproof. So these are many of the keynote speakers that will be joining us at FinTech Surge and the Blockchain Summit. Make sure you attend that. If you want to reach out to me, I'm easy. I'm kenradio@gmail. Of course, Christina's a little hard because she is, of course,
bit hard. But I'm well for everybody who is going to the Dubai blockchain summit. Well, I'm open for discussion.
There you go. So everyone, thank you so much. We want to thank you for attending today's session. James, thank you for making time for us. And we'll see you for our next event, which will be happening very soon. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great week. Everyone, thank you. Bye all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.